Hi, I'm Gail Minogue, and I'm welcoming you to my numerology talk today. And it will be on the ages from 0 to 49. I gave a recent talk, I think about a week or two ago, on the most important years begin at 49. But what about the previous years? What happens there? So I thought I would talk to you a little bit today about the previous years, go over that with you and what is intended by them. So that would be ages 0 up to 49. In the first 30 years of your life, what's that all about and what you need to really be aware of during those 30 years. And so we just want to settle in for a minute. This is my dog, Max, who joined me today. And there's a gardener across the street who's weeding and blowing his machine. So he's joined in as well. So just join us all and put up with the buzz in the background. But I wanted to be outside. It's a gorgeous day in Southern California today. So the important thing to remember about anybody's life here is that you have these important 7-year soul cycles. First one beginning age 7, 7 to 8. And then from there on in, as long as you're here, you have from 14 to 15, and then 21 to 22, and then 28 to 29, 35, 36, 42, 43, and then 49, 50. And so we spoke of 49, 50 and thereafter, but what about the beginning? And what do you do? And what should you know? So I want to help you out with that so you can keep this in mind as you're going forward. First of all, it takes 30 years to get out of childhood. So even though you might be successful, you may have had a job, you may have a lot of money, you may not, you may be struggling, but understand that it takes 30 years to get out of childhood. The first 7, you're just getting here with the body. You're just getting used to this place. The next 7 up to 14 is you're working on the mind and developing your connections outside of your family of origin. Then, of course, from 14 on, you are learning how to handle emotions. So this is one reason why in this window from 14 up to about 21, we have a lot of incidents of aggression and anger. Everything is related to hormones because these cycles are activated by glands. And so we have a lot of issues going on at the emotional part when the glands are operating. And sometimes they come out prematurely. Sometimes they don't respond early enough, late enough, and they create all kinds of emotional problems for a person. So you have school shootings and you have, a lot of issues maybe around suicide, cutting, all these kinds of emotional issues that fit in the range of from 14 to 21. And so it's a very difficult period. So if you're in that period, hang on, it will get better. It definitely gets better. It's a temporary state of insanity, but we all have to go through it. It just depends on how. But so it's really important to understand it's like everything passes. It never stays for coffee. You're going to eventually get in your 20s and 30s and get on with your life. But so we have the mind, then we have the body, we have the emotions, and then we integrate, and that takes another 7 years till 28, and then to 29. We finish that up, transition out. We're finally out of childhood by 30. So take your time. There's no rush. You have all the time in the world. You have all the time in the world. So stop trying to, compete. America is about competition. That's a nutty place. It is about competing, and the marketplace is really bad or hard or whatever it is. But it's about your own personal life, what you want to do, how you want to do it, and keep faith in yourself. That is so important during that first 30 years. Because this is probably one of the hardest periods of your life to get through. Everything is being put in. It's like a giant machine. All the parts are being added during those first 30 years. Okay, so it can get very discouraging. It's like your friends are getting married, or they're having success, or they start their company. But I got news for you. Everything begins to change at 49 to 50. So take your time. Go to school if you want to. Don't if you don't want to. But really come to know yourself, and you're not just your emotions. And that is a challenge period. I mean, I can remember when I was going through it. And it isn't the easiest, and everything is a bigger deal because of these emotions and these glands that are activated. So keep that in mind. At 30, you start your adult life, and you move on. You think about, well, maybe I don't want to stay up late so much and go out. I want to maybe start a business. I want to buy a home maybe, or I want to move to where it's a smarter place for me to live. I want to pull away from, say, some old friends or connections. So I begin to do my adult life in my 30s. And at that time, I move out to my fifth soul cycle, which is 35. Now I'm really cooking. Okay. So you want to be patient with yourself. You want to be patient because this takes time to put these parts in the machine. So from 35 to 36, you go through another soul cycle. And now you're sort of cementing what you're doing, what you're working at. You're more about interested in success. And that can be in many different areas. You don't have to follow the tribe. But nevertheless, when you reach 42 now, you are really working and working and working. Okay, so you've been working a long time. And that's why by the time we're 49, we take a look back at 50 and we say, wait a minute, what did I do for the last 20 years when I left all that childhood stuff at 30? Was this what I really wanted? And do I really want to wake up every day with this person besides me? And wait a minute. So I really recommend to a lot of people that if you're not ready to get married before 30, don't. Because you're learning to know who you are. And that takes those 4 cycles of 7 years, 28. And then the finish it up at 29 and start your adult life 30. Once you get through that passage that lasts from 28, 29, 30, that's a tough passage. If you go back in your life and you look at that, that was not easy. A lot of big change at 30. So you want to have patience with yourself and take it easy about, say, a relationship. If it's not working out, be cautious, because if it's, say, you're going through a tough period from 28, 29, you're literally going through an identity change. And that's what I call it, is a big identity change. So identity change, we wake up one day and we're not the same as we were a couple of years ago, and that's good. But we don't want to do this job anymore or be with this person anymore, and that's very common and it's very normal. So you want to really get to know yourself, be true with yourself, watch out for self-deception. Don't get caught up too much in the emotional stuff from 14 to 21. It's a bummer. It is, I know, but it's it's fraught with obstacles, but you do survive it and you will come out of it. So do the things that are really true to you. I learned long ago there's the right path, which society wants to put you on, or what you'll do, because this is what we do to get here and there and everywhere. But actually, then there's the true path for you. So listen to yourself and your own intuition. What is your true path rather than the right path? And if you will be true to yourself, you will have less problems and less obstacles later on because you were. So I hope this just gives you an idea of using these first early years of your life and understanding them more. But particularly understanding that early part, and then when you get in the 20s, when you think you should have it all together, you're just getting it together. So I look at some of these situations now with the millennials in this generation and some of the struggle, but this is a moment where they're really coming out into their adult life and making their own lives. Wow, I think that gardener he just revved up his motor. So it's time for me to sign out here. So I'm going to thank you for listening and watching. If you need to reach me, I'm Gail at gailminogue.com with Max, the sweet dog, and the gardener across the street. And you can go to Gail at gailminogue.com or find me on gailminogue.com itself and look into the book Divine Design, how you created the life that you are living, because you are responsible for it. Not your parents, not the rest of them, it's yours. So whatever you want to do with it. All right, thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you again.